Hey there, friends. Good morning. It is Thursday, October 2nd. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz, going to take a deeper dive into the forecast because we do have some changes up ahead. Not going to be nearly as stormy today, although most of the rain will likely stay west of Seattle, but we're still going to have some showers out there. I wanted to start things off showing you how we're looking outside. We can actually see the mountain this morning. This is a view from our King 5 camera in Tacoma. You see the winds are still whipping. If you look very carefully, you see the flag atop the Tacoma Dome, but you can see Mount Rainier and the sun. Meanwhile, here in Seattle, visibility is fine, although you can't really make out the mountain just yet, but we're starting to see some sun breaks out there. Let's talk about those changes because, again, we are going to have some of those lingering showers, mainly west and north today, as we have a stalled boundary just draped over the Olympic Peninsula, and that's where we're going to have the greatest chance for some rain today, the Olympic Peninsula as well as our northern counties. There are a couple of showers in the forecast for late Friday and into Saturday as we start to get a couple of weak systems just passing over the area. So yes, that means we could have a couple of showers for our Mariners playoff game on Saturday. However, if we have that later game after 5 p.m., we're in better shape rather than an earlier game. So something we're going to be watching very, very carefully. Let's talk about yesterday's rain. Some of our sites picking up about 3/10 of an inch at SeaTac, and Everett a little close to that a quarter of an inch threshold. However, not quite that. That was yesterday. However, closer to the coast, over or close to an inch, but three quarters of an inch at Quileute. And then you see Hoquiam, not quite the quarter of an inch threshold as well. Meanwhile, in Olympia, just a little over that. As of midnight, here are some of the rain totals that we've had at SeaTac, only 7/100ths of an inch, and then Olympia 5/100ths of an inch. It's also been rather gusty out there, but the winds are expected to die down as we get closer into the afternoon, at least the gust, but still going to be a little breezy out there. But most of the strong wind gusts are this morning. Here's a look at the big picture. We have that low still spinning offshore, though it is weakening. You can kind of see the little bit of spin offshore. But we have that one front I was telling you about that is just stalled over the area. It's going to continue to weaken, eventually dissipating. But right now, you see all of the green, most of the moisture's over the Olympic Peninsula and where we need the rain the most, right over the Bear Gulch fire. So some good news there, but you see the majority of the rain falling over the Western Olympics as well as Vancouver Island and up in Whatcom County closer to the Canadian border. Here's a look at the expected rain chances over the next 5 days. Obviously, it's closer to the Puget Sound area, showing you North Sound all the way down to South Sound. Today, we'll still hold that chance, but Saturday, still going to be watching those shower chances very, very carefully the closer we get to the game. However, timing favoring the morning. So I'll show you and I'll walk through the futurecast hour by hour coming up. But I wanted to show you the 7-day forecast before we dive into the details. So today we'll have temperatures generally in the mid and upper 60s. We'll have more sun breaks today. Some spots may even just have mostly sunny skies as we head into the afternoon. Into Friday, we're still partly sunny, a couple of showers. Saturday, we're cooler. A few showers are also possible. But looking ahead to next week, we may have 70s out there, low and mid 70s, but check out those mornings, a little on the cooler side. Now, this is for the greater Seattle area. For South Sound or typical cooler spots in the morning, likely going to be in the lower 40s. So it is going to be rather chilly with that true fall feel next week. Today's high is once again going to be in the mid and upper 60s, maybe a few spots near 70, and that includes some of our interior spots as well. And the islands generally in the mid 60s. Tonight, we'll have 40s and 50s, maybe a shower out there, but clouds are really going to rule the night as well. Into our Friday, mid and upper 60s, and isolated showers possible, but once again, mainly overnight or late tomorrow and into our Saturday. Futurecast shows, here's later this morning, most of the rain west and north of Seattle, thanks to that stalled boundary. But then we get into the afternoon, you see how still a couple of scattered showers are possible, even over Puget Sound, the Kitsap Peninsula. But then we'll have sun breaks in the mix as well, maybe a little bit of fog to kickstart our Friday, more so closer to the coast along and west of I-5 over southwestern Washington, but even closer to Puget Sound near the water, we could have some low clouds. Here comes that disturbance I was talking about. Late Friday, you see showers moving in from the northwest, very light in nature, but most of that would likely fall overnight. Here's Saturday morning, the mid and late morning hours, a couple of showers breaking out over the area. Here's around the early to mid-afternoon, dodging some raindrops, but as the afternoon, the evening goes on, then we would have generally drier skies. In terms of rain totals going forward, with the incoming rain over the next couple of days all the way through Saturday evening, you see trace amounts for most spots, maybe 1/10 of an inch, some spots a little more than that, but either way, the heaviest rain is over. But man, it was super beneficial. And we all know, you don't need me to tell you that we desperately need the rain. Sea-Tax deficit, just a little less than 7 inches below normal. Olympia, 10 inches below normal. Bellingham, still about 3 inches below normal, but anything at this point will help. Some good news, some bad news with the latest drought monitor. For Washington, the entire state's still under a drought, at least moderate drought. However, from last week's update, so last Thursday, there were no changes to the drought monitor. Everyone is still under their drought category, which includes Puget Sound from Seattle down to portions of Pierce County under that severe drought, and then the northern Cascades, and then the eastern slopes of the northern Cascades still under that extreme drought. So we haven't had any changes, so that's a good thing in terms of we haven't gotten worsening conditions, but still not headed in that right direction that we need with any improvements. But this rain may help a little bit, we'll see. But we are entering those wetter months, and I wanted to show you what we're dealing with for October. In fact, October for Seattle, from October 1st to October 31st, we see the biggest changes from the start of the month to the end of the month in Seattle out of any month. So our highs, we cool about 10 degrees on average, and then for our lows, you see about 7 degrees. We cool that much, and our average rain totals go up to nearly 4 inches. And so we are below that, but we still have plenty of ground to cover. Also, we lose a lot of daylight. You also know that by the start of the month, our sunset's 6:47. But by the end of the month, we're before 6 o'clock, and that is coming quickly. I also wanted to show you this because September, October, we lose the most daylight over the span of the entire month. So September, October, we lose over an hour and a half of daylight here in Seattle, pardon me, September and October. But then we get closer in November, we still lose over an hour of daylight. But then by December, only about 10 to 12 minutes of daylight lost as we get closer to the winter solstice. So yes, the big dark is coming. It's coming quickly, as we well know. For October, as I mentioned, about an hour, 39 minutes of daylight lost. Our last 6 p.m. sunset, by the way, until March is October 26th. And then in November, as I mentioned, about an hour and 13 minutes of daylight lost. And don't forget, in a month from today, so it's October 2nd, November 2nd is when we fall back. Daylight saving comes to an end, and we get that extra hour of sleep, but then we have a sunset at 4:49 p.m. As we head into December, our latest sunrise 7:57 a.m. Our earliest sunset is 4:17. But then as we head into January, we start to gain that daylight back. And then as we get closer to February, March, April, all the way into May, that's when we start to rapidly gain daylight once again. Very similar to our fall, around the fall equinox, like what we're gaining or losing now. So here's another, pardon me, a look at your 7-day forecast. Once again, temperature swing continues. The coolest day will be Saturday, and our warmest day, we're looking ahead to next Tuesday, maybe into Wednesday as well. We'll have to fine tune the forecast as we get a little closer, but all in all, we're going to have some chilly mornings and some very mild afternoons. Now, beyond the 7-day forecast, model guidance, long-range models show the potential for us to see cooler than normal temperatures, generally in the lower and mid 60s, so near normal, as I mentioned. From the start of the month to the end of the month, our average high is about 10 degrees different. So the average high goes from about the upper 60s or mid and upper 60s to the mid and upper 50s. So getting closer to that average high for the month. So not expecting any major temperature swings. So if you want some 70s, enjoy next week. But overall, after a couple of showers on Saturday, the weekend's not looking all too bad. Now, if you're wondering about the Mariners game, again, we'll have to fine tune the timing. We also have to see what time the game will be, if it's after 1 or after 5. But Sunday, since it's after 5 o'clock, looking good for that. So more than likely would have a better chance to have a roof open on Sunday. Remember, you can always find the latest extended forecast on King 5 Plus. You can always download our King 5 app, and you can watch the extended forecast on our YouTube page as well.